This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Welcome into Driving Solutions here at CBTNews.com. With NADA just around the corner, today we're going to talk about what dealers should be focused on this year, what PureCars is bringing to the show in Las Vegas, and how clean data and AI are changing the way dealers drive, service traffic, and connect with customers more effectively. Joining us today is Lauren Donalson and Jason Wiley from PureCars, both of whom have stepped into new leadership roles there at PureCars. So folks, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Very much appreciate it. So Lauren, let me start with you if I can. Excited to have you both. As I said, you're both taking over new roles there in the last 6 months. What are you most excited about moving forward in 2026?
I really appreciate, first off, that you are having us. We are looking forward to this coming calendar year. We're already in it. Can't believe 2025 flew by like crazy.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking forward to most for this coming year as it pertains to PureCars, as you just mentioned, Jason and I are relatively new to our leadership roles. Very, very humbled and excited by the warm reception from the industry, the company, friends, and peers across the business. And as we look forward to PureCars' future, really what we are looking to do in our next chapter is evolve from the PureCars that you probably know as the titan of industry and digital media to one, as you mentioned, we're leveraging AI, but really evolving into one that's much more focused on data hygiene, data ingestion, audience management and curation, and then leveraging AI algorithms to deploy media in a more sophisticated way. That's a very large topic and a very large undertaking, but we think we're the right people for the job. Super excited for it.
Absolutely. I see you shaking your head, Jason. You want to add to that?
Couldn't say anything more. I think I want to just echo the terms that we're very blessed and feel lucky to be here and thankful for the opportunity to talk with you guys. But the lot of challenges already that are facing the dealers, I think we are uniquely positioned to be able to solve a lot of those problems and talk with the dealers and educate them a little bit more about the things that we really have under the matrix that are a lot more than just the digital advertising components, which we're obviously known for. But I think 2026 is going to be a great year for all of us, and we're excited about it.
I agree. However, it will have its challenge. Lauren, what do you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities dealers will face this year?
Sure. Yeah, great question. And that's, again, kind of why PureCars exists, is to help the auto dealer thrive, right? So the problems that the dealers and manufacturers are confronted with, we've already started to see it here in the tail end of last year and into this year. Inventory starting to tighten up again. Monthly payments are continue to skyrocket.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
To me, there's really a couple areas of opportunity to confront those problems. The first one, and as it pertains to, again, back to curating and targeting the right audiences that are kind of bespoke and AI algorithmically driven towards your opportunity, it is going to be the new normal, or else you're going to be deficient in the way that you're deploying your marketing strategies. The other one is, and I know we're going to get into this, is you can't sleep on service.
Yeah.
So there happen to be 3 profit centers in the dealership, and it can't just all be new and used vehicle sales.
Right.
The back end of the store can feed the front end of the store. And I think your more successful dealers and manufacturers alike are going to be the ones that take care of the full life cycle of the customer, as opposed to just focusing on the front end.
Yeah, for sure. Lauren, NADA, as we mentioned, is right around the corner. What are you most looking forward to this year at the show?
Candidly, attendance.
You're remembering last year, huh? Snowmageddon.
Exactly.
That was crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, jokes aside, I am just looking forward to seeing everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's our Super Bowl, and we are looking forward to a lot of different product releases and, again, kind of bringing our vision for PureCars' next chapter to life. But I'm excited to get to see all of our friends that we haven't seen in the last couple of years due to snowpocalypse last year.
Yeah.
And again, I'm really pumped just, again, to rub elbows with some folks that we probably haven't seen. It's going to prompt a lot of really fun and dynamic conversations as we look towards this hyper fast velocity of technology improving, going back to the AI component. I mean, we've never been in a faster kind of iterative phase from a product and development perspective. There's a lot to get into.
Yeah, no question about it. Jason, what's new or exciting, I should say, at PureCars that you'll be showcasing at your booth?
A lot. I think we try to bucket it into a couple different categories, though. You probably know, and a lot of the dealerships know about some of the manufacturers are now endorsing AI lead nurturing tools, of
Oh, yeah.
which we've been part of that with like the Nissan and Infiniti pieces.
Hmm.
So we're going to be talking a lot, demoing that product, actually giving dealerships the
Okay.
live access to be able to see what a real live consumer experience would be as they interact with the dealership through an AI agent. So that's going to be very splashy. I think also kind of the trend that I was talking about a little bit before, one of the reasons why I was so excited to join PureCars and excited to be and
Hmm.
humbled by the opportunity to be here is just the synergistic way that we're kind of repackaging and really retelling our messaging and our story. There's tremendous homegrown amount of technology that's been built up by PureCars over the past, 17, 18 years.
Sure.
But dealers, I don't really think really truly understand yet the components of like really the full blown CDP, the DMP work, the insights that we're able to provide for them, the strategic data driven approaches of how they should go do their marketing. And then, we've also been very aggressive and had the great opportunity to win some OEM contracted business right now underneath the customer lifecycle management platform,
Great.
like Warren was talking about. So,
Hmm.
expanding that opportunity and getting more into the after sales side of the house and really showing dealers the customer journeys.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different components of there, but
Hmm.
we're looking forward for the most part for reconnecting with all of our dealers, being able to see people in person, have
Yeah.
some great meetings, but really showcasing a lot of that. The booth will be rocking, and we're excited to talk about all those things with
Yeah.
all of our partners.
The Pure Cars booth is always rocking, that's for sure. So besides the
Right.
booth, Lauren, you've got a session at NADA. Can you give us kind of a sneak peek of what you'll be talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to. I'll lean into a couple of two-letter words, AI and FO, or we'll do both, right?
Right.
So we're going to talk about parts and service and leveraging AI in the back end of the store.
Okay.
Um, kind of circling back to the soapbox that I've been
Yeah.
standing on for the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. This year, it's going to be increasingly important for dealers and manufacturers alike to really focus on fixed operations, after sales, and the full customer lifecycle and lifetime value.
Hmm.
I'll be given a crash course in my session on how you can leverage AI in a multitude of different ways, whether it be the agent that Jason was talking about
Yeah.
that converts back and forth with folks, helping to set service appointments, answer questions about the status of their vehicle, et cetera. But also ways that you can leverage AI internally to make your associates more productive.
Hmm.
So it should be a fun time. Super excited to hit the stage in Vegas.
That's great. Congratulations on that, by the way. That's pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
So, service marketing has always been challenging for dealerships. When I was running stores, every service director would come in and say, "How come I don't have the budget that sales has, or used cars, or what have you?" And you're like, "Get back to your office again." Nobody ever really spent a whole lot of money. I shouldn't say nobody, but many dealers, kind of saw it as this stepchild back there. When in reality, it makes so much, adds so much to the bottom line of a dealership. And I think over the last 5 or 10 years, certainly since COVID, we said, whoa, this is something we really got to focus on, and we've got to add fuel to the fire back there. So what makes it so tough today for dealerships in the way of marketing service?
I mean, I actually think you hit the nail on the head, in that it's treated as a secondary profit center when
Yeah,
in fact it's likely the largest driver of
that's right.
profitability in
Yeah.
any given store. And you're tugging on my heartstrings here because I worked in parts and service
Oh,
my
okay. Okay. So you know
very first
firsthand,
gig,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
And so I look at it as much opportunity if you were to nurture customers. You're going to interact with them 4, 5, 6, 10 times throughout the customer life cycle
That's
before
right.
they're ready for another purchase. And if you spend that time nurturing a very positive experience with the customer, you're more likely again to feed the front end of the store.
That's right.
I recognize that sales is sexier than service. Totally understand that. Having said that, there's opportunity as a business
Right.
person to increase your profitability and productivity
Right.
if you're having the back end of the store cover that absorption rate. I mean, our leading dealers, I would say, so PureCars partners with about 2,000 dealers across the US and Canada. The most successful ones are the ones that are paying attention to parts and service today,
Yeah.
and their investment. I've seen some groups deploy an investment strategy of say a 4-to-1
Hmm.
mandatory expense. For every $4 that you spend acquiring a sale, you got to be spending another dollar
Hmm.
on parts and service. And I
Yeah.
think dealers and manufacturers alike ought to consider what their allocation of budget looks like today and ensure that they're covering the back end.
Oh, no question about it. And there was a study done by the NADA not too long ago that said, where did today's dealers typically come from? Which department? Was it fixed ops or was it variable ops? I think it was like 82% came out of variable ops, right? So I know you're shaking your head there, right? Because you came out of fixed ops, so you know it better than a lot of GMs and dealers even do. And I was one of those GMs that came out of variable ops. So that was my that was my focus every day, was how many new cars and used cars can I sell and how much F&I profit can I make? And that was a mistake. Looking back in my career, that was a big mistake I made, to say we need to push more service, advertise to those people, connect with those people, because guess where those customers are going in the service when it's time to buy their next vehicle. If it's done right, they're coming back into the showroom, right? And I think in many cases we took that for granted. But talk to us a little bit, Jason, about what role does clean customer data play in making service marketing more effective. And I say that because early this morning, I'm getting into my car, I stopped at the mailbox and said, let's get the mail. And in there is an offer for service on a BMW that I owned 7 years ago. Okay, and traded it in at that very dealership. So, this just continues to haunt all of us in the industry, right?
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time the dealer told me about that over the course of my career, yeah. I mean, it plays the biggest role. It's the to talk about, like, kind of piggybacking again off of what Lauren's talking. It's probably one of the least sexy things, but it's one of the most materially impactful components of a dealership's business, is to make sure that they're, using their clean, that the data is clean. For us, we typically see, anywhere between like a 30% range from a dealerships where their DMS data is bad, whether that's, they don't have the email, they don't have the proper phone, they don't have a proper address. We see all sorts of different stuff. Customers incarcerated, persons dead, no longer. I mean, there's so many of those
dead
things.
And incarcerated. This just went very dark on us, Jason. This just became the CSI files.
You would be surprised at the amount of advertising and to say that you have bad data, but to really understand the impact for dealers. Like if if you're thinking about, hey, I'm sending 20,000 pieces of mail out a month and I'm spending $1.50 a mailer or whatever it is. You start to 30% adds up into tens of thousands of dollars in wasted advertising for larger stores on a monthly basis, for small stores on a quarterly basis. So there's a material impact there. And in the luxury divisions, we see those numbers even higher than that. So 7 out of 10 emails could be bad. I mean, we're given worst case scenarios for sure, but the point being is that if starting with the foundation of cleaning the data and making sure that every single dealership has an accurate understanding of their actual first-party data, and being able to reach those customers, then you can start to answer and unravel the more difficult questions, which are, when do I reach them, on what channel, and all those other things. Those are the things that get the top line headlines that have always, for the 15 and 20 years that I've been in digital marketing, everybody's talking about reaching the right customer at the right time with the right message. The foundational element is making sure that the people are, that it's accurate, that you have the vehicle attached to them, that they still have that car, to your point. And all of those different components. You can't do marketing properly unless you're starting with clean data. That's a pillar of, PureCars.
That's right. And Lauren, back me up on this. We'd send out service mailers and connect with emails and what have you to bring that customer back in for service. Now we're interested in buying their vehicle. So that takes on a whole new level of importance to make sure that data that we're reaching out to these customers with offers on their car, and to let them know that, guess what, we could use that car if you're not using it. Of course, we'd love for you to trade it in as well. But the service drive has really become a major driver, so to speak, of vehicle acquisition for dealers, right?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I think we saw this hit its peak need, if you will, during the chip shortage time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And new vehicle supply was through the floor, super, super far down. And dealers didn't know, wholesale prices are going through the roof. How am I going to acquire vehicles to keep my sales velocity intact? People are still coming into the market. we really developed this muscle at PureCars of, I was saying back then, and I'm saying it again now, we're actually helping a lot of our clients buy cars more often than sell them today, which is a wild, recurring, no longer phenomenon, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, as inventory starts to shorten, new car, you can't control your own destiny as much with new car supply, right? But you can control your own destiny with used cars. I know you know that.
That's right. That's right.
It's down to a science and leveraging data of understanding what vehicles are going to turn the fastest, where those units and operations sit in your PMA, and then deploying messaging towards those customers to acquire the vehicles is absolutely, it's got to be a part of your strategy. Money on the table in terms of acquiring the car at the right price, acquiring the right inventory to flip that really quickly, and again, ratcheting your profitability up and to the right for used cars and for parts and service.
That's right. I'll stay with you here for a second, Lauren. How does a CDP differ from a traditional CRM for service departments?
Great question. I look at CRM, it preempts the CDP. Okay. So forgive me as I talk with my hands here a little bit.
It's quite all right. I do it all day long.
Right on. Okay.
In fact, I understand you better because you're doing it.
I appreciate you. So think of the CDP as the brain or the filtration or the dam, one of those. And you've got CRM, DMS, maybe third-party lists that you've acquired from the manufacturer or elsewhere. All of those things, as Jason mentioned, in their nascent state, are very, very dirty. So you think about CRM, DMS, et cetera, all of those things are ingested by your CDP or customer data platform. Right. What we're going to do with the CDP is we take all those things and say, okay, let's make it into one format because they're going to come in multiple formats, and we're going to clean, dedupe, append information to give you one very clean universe to then leverage and weaponize to whatever your opportunity is. And what we like to do is we'll then layer in a couple different things. We see market insights where, I don't know, let's say you're losing to XYZ competitor, Mr. or Mrs. Dealer, or you're losing to XYZ brand in the same segment, Mr. or Mrs. Manufacturer. Okay, we can actually take that universe, slice out the cross shoppers that are most likely to convert over to your brand and target them. We apply the AI algorithm on top of your website activity to note who of the total universe, who's most likely to convert all the way into infinity.
Nice.
And then we weight your spend and your impression load towards people who are more likely to convert. Anyways, that's longer winded than you probably banked on. But think of the CRM as an input into the CDP.
Right. And by the way, it's a question that's very valid because I know that there's dealers out there, GMs and such, and fixed ops directors that want an explanation of that because they're getting hit with all of these buzzwords. Speaking of buzzwords, AI is a major big buzzword right now. And Jason, how does it actually help a service department today? And I know that there's many different answers to this, but what's your take on that?
Well, first, it's the latest flavorful buzzwords, right? Once you've been around for a long time.
Big data. Years ago at NAD, it was big data, and now we understand what big data is.
I remember those days well.
Yes.
You hit the nail on the head. There's multiple different approaches. I think one of the things that we're trying to help with right now is helping dealerships understand kind of the differences between AI tools that will actually engage directly with customers, such as lead nurturing, SMS, chat features, like all these different things where an agent, if you would, is communicating with a customer. Yeah. That's bucket one. Bucket two is really AI technology that can enable you to have better communications or better strategies to actually have communications with those customers in that first bucket, right? So when you think about the best applications, when AI is at its absolute best, it's a combination of those two buckets. Like the first bucket would, so if we go kind of with the second one, not to get too long-winded, but being able to utilize AI to do mixed media modeling, right? To be able to do customer segmenting, to be able to generate the actual actionable insights like what Lauren was talking about, being able to have tools at ready that can take all of those different data sources and all of those different messages, where the consumer's at in their life cycle, what vehicles do they have, when was the last time that they serviced a car, blah, 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 all of those different things. AI should be able to, and does when it's properly applied, give the dealers the insights about, those advertising's most tricky questions again, who to market to, at what point, and on what channel. That's you use AI as the tool for that and supplements. And I think that, again, that's probably not the most sexy thing, but I do think that that's the most valuable application that a dealership can possibly have today. Because again, without that, then all the communications and stuff that you're trying to actually talk to the customer, whether that be deploying campaigns that are out, whether that be actually having an agent responding to different elements, almost still becomes a moot point if they don't have the proper data that's in there to be able to determine who that customer is in their life cycle, what they're actually looking for, and all those comments, right? So without getting too much farther down the path, I think that there's a tremendous opportunity of which PureCars wants to take a leading edge in not pushing any products, but in helping dealerships understand the capabilities that AI has and the functions and the roles that it plays for the dealerships. And that's going to be one of the things that we'll be talking a lot about at NADA as well.
Sure. Jason, can you give kind of share a quick real world example of AI driving more service visits?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. So if you take a look when you're uploading the agent, right, and when first and foremost, you're going through and applying the mixed media modeling segmentations, and you're doing all the analytic work to be able to determine this customer, this person, going back to clean data, still has this car, this customer service intervals, and all of those things. We've seen it be able to very fastly drive net new service opportunities via different channels, right? So one of the things that when you look at it, you get the data aligned up the right way, and then if you're looking at like SMS messaging is a proper tool with that, integrated with dealership CRM, going through all the compliancy laws. But once the consumer, I think consumers today are so much more comfortable with AI agents than what they used to be even a year ago. Like we've seen the engagement levels go through the roof, so long as you're doing some of the things the right way, so long as you're not misleading the customers. But when an agent can intercept that data, make a proactive outreach to a consumer to go, hey, we noticed from the VIN telematics that your check engine light is on about this. We would more than likely, this is an agent on behalf of the dealership. If there's a free opportunity for you to come in and just get that checked up, and then one of our actual humans can give you an analysis of it. We've seen little small things like that go from maybe a year to 2 years ago having 0.5% response, a 1% response, a 2% response, to 25, 30, 40% of those people now responding to those things. Because the data is driving it the proper way. So we've seen those response rates go hockey sticking, and then obviously that's making the revenue for the service department go hockey sticking, and giving the dealerships the opportunity to do what they do best, which is then talk to the customers and try to flip them into a new car or to take care of them on their service department. So many applications for it, but that's a real world example of how you're connecting data with the actual communications to provide a much better experience for customers.
That's right. Delta Airlines has trained me over the last year that I would rather the AI assistant than even waiting for the live person. You know what I mean? And because I can get more done. They've become much more sophisticated, and we're seeing this now in retail automotive. It's about time. We happen to lag sometimes in retail automotive, but I think we're there. And of course, programs like this are incredible. But so let me ask you, Lauren, dealers have a lot of options when it comes to advertising and communicating with customers: email, SMS, as you talked about, social, video. I mean, how does PureCars make reaching customers across all of these simple?
Yeah, we take all the heavy lifting off of you, right? So going back to all of the inputs into the brain, PureCars can deploy all of that stuff that's in the brain for you in a way that's super sophisticated, because we are actually, via our identity resolution services, we're assigning a unique identifier to every single person that we're able to resolve an identity to, and we know a bunch about them. Number one, where they're at in the life cycle of their vehicle, what they're shopping for or cross-shopping for, purchase trends. We also know their preferred method of communication. If they want to be texted, don't call them. Shoot them a text.
That's right.
All of that is automated, and candidly, there's no way on God's green earth that you could deploy something that sophisticated across your entire database without empowering an AI agent or an AI algorithm of sorts. So I get really fired up about that because generally speaking, dealers, manufacturers, they don't care what screen someone they're talking to. It doesn't matter what piece of glass the message is delivered upon.
Right.
So long as it's delivered to the right person with still owns the vehicle at the right time, right? So all of that, again, by way of all the inputs kind of going in, feeding into the brain and then deploying it, this is very much, our clients can be super involved. We also respect that they have 9-to-5s that have nothing to do with diversification of media allocation between social and video and email and direct mail. We'd rather take the heavy lifting off of you and report back how well we did for you in the aftermath. But
that's right.
Again, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. We do have clients that want to be super involved, but that's not necessary. It's really empowered by AI and machine learning. And all of those inputs, we can deploy a massively sophisticated omnichannel approach on a client's behalf.
Sure. What's the biggest benefit dealerships notice when they start using clean data plus AI for service marketing?
I think about tenets of AI really regardless of any business. We've contemplated how we leverage AI tools internally at PureCars across our business as well. There's really 3 key objectives. We want to increase productivity, decrease lag time, like you mentioned with Delta. You get your answer faster.
That's right.
And increase consistency. Same experience as you're referring to with Delta Agent.
Yeah.
When I think about that in the context of strictly parts and service, again, that leads to kind of the triple threat or the triple crown. If we're increasing productivity of your associates, decreasing lag time, increasing consistency, you're going to see heightened RO count, heightened cost per RO, or dollars per RO, and increased CSI. I think you're providing a better experience to your end customer as well by being proactive, being clean with your communication and not talking to them on a BMW they used to own 7 years ago, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's putting your dealership in the best light and looking super smart, intelligent, and invested in the customer as much as they're invested in you.
That's right. So
ultimately, I think, we're looking for increased productivity out of AI. The dealers can expect increased RO count, CPRO, and CSI. That's what they're chasing, and this absolutely helps them.
Yeah, there's no question about it. This is, again, dealers, put PureCars on your short list. These are the kinds of solutions we want to be bringing you here at CBT News. This is, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your dealership. You jump into AI, these guys have got the solution for you on this. Service is going to play a very big role, as you all know in the auto industry, as maybe new car sales come down a little bit, as they might in 2026. Guess where we're going to be going? We're going to be going to service. We always do. And you want to get more than your fair share in your market. You got to know about AI. You got to be using it. You've got to partner with the right company out there. PureCars is tops in what they do. So Lauren Donalson, CEO of PureCars, and Jason Wiley, who's the President and Chief Revenue Officer at PureCars. Thank you so much for coming by CBT News. Again, these are the kinds of solutions that we want to be featuring here to our dealer audience. So thank you so much. Of course, for dealers that are out there, they're going to be at West Hall. Their booth is 3551 in the West Hall. And be sure to sit in on Lauren's workshop, which is Wednesday and Friday. So you're not going to want to miss that. And again, thank you so much for giving us all this time today. Really appreciate it.
The pleasure has been ours. Thank you so much. And
thanks.
Looking forward to Vegas.
Absolutely. See you out there.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.